Gordon, I got a question for you. Why some people say that they don't feel good when they listen to gong?
Well, at the end of a gong bath you're talking about,
yes,
and they report. Well, actually, people often don't actually speak to the gong player. This is my experience, not directly my own experience, but I think many people who are disappointed or have a bad reaction to a gong bath leave without kind of flagging it up to anybody, and I think it's not a good thing to keep it inside. So what are the reasons? I think the first one that I always like to explain to people who are new to gong baths, which is to be accepting of what's happening during the course of the gong bath, and not to reject. I think one of the things that can cause an adverse reaction is if people are rejecting this peculiar sound, this peculiar experience that they're having. It's unusual, and if they're not used to it, we humans, we're very good at rejecting things that we don't have any prior experience of. And I think that's the first reason.
And how about the second?
Well, that can be to do with something which is, I fear, is increasingly prevalent now these days, with many people being very enthusiastic about getting hold of gongs and offering their playing abilities to all and sundry, perhaps before they're ready. And I think that so we can have examples of people not playing terribly well, and this can sometimes. We always talk about the benefits of the gong if it's played well. If it's not played well, that can be problematic.
So if people doesn't feel good, they have many two issues. One is he not used to, he resists, and the second is the gong player. The issue of the gong player, right?
I think there's a third one, which is to do with a bit of both, really. Which is the really important thing is to ensure that people are grounded at the end of a gong bath. And I think sometimes people, if they're not grounded, they can leave the space and be still off with the fairies. And
I think grounding is another topic, but I want to, my experience for the first time I listen to gong is that I feel my old injury is really painful at that time. I can feel that it's kind of like helping me, the circulation, the gong circulation made me circulate better. So, but the old injury is kind of tingling, tingling.
Yeah, this is a common experience for people. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure that people always find this disagreeable, actually. When blockages are being cleared, this can bring up anxiety and funny sensations. But if you, again, it's getting back to this thing about not rejecting. If you're accepting that you're in an environment where not just physical blockages, but physical, mental, spiritual blockages, and of course they're very often all connected. If you're in a situation where these things are being unblocked, or at least that process is starting, you're in an environment where this can happen. This can be at least disorientating. I'm not so sure that this is a bad experience. It's only if you start rejecting it that it's going to start being problematic. That's the way I'd say it.
So that will be temporary. People doesn't feel good, but afterwards,
well, maybe. I think that the gong is actually finding the block and working it through. If you've got an uncomfortable feeling about that, then it should dissipate as the gong gets to work. And actually after the gong bath too, we're still resonating for some time afterwards, and even if we're not terribly aware of it, the work is still going on. So it's a very potentially therapeutic thing that's happening, and sometimes perhaps we don't don't realize how much good it's doing us, you know.
Okay, thank you very much. Please subscribe the YouTube video and press the button of the bell. That is a notification for you when we have new video come up. And please press like if you like this video and share to your friend if you have any questions about gong, playing gong, listen to gong, or anything about the sound therapy instruments. You can leave the message down there. Gordon will reply you.